My name is Justin Waller. If you have something on your to-do list or you have a goal that you had set out to achieve and for whatever reason you're not taking action on it, go in the bathroom, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, and ask yourself what you're afraid of. Many times in life, you don't take action because you didn't do the work to be confident enough in yourself to know that your actions will actually pay off or not hurt you. All of life is mindset. Ed Milet, and I met Ed. He was a great guy. He has a book. I think it's One More Rep or something like that. I've read it. You had to do a massive amount of studying to be able to put yourself in a position to make the videos, one. Then you had to take massive action of actually shooting those videos and producing them in a way that you could be proud enough that you could take those to friends and family. You did the work to grow the confidence. And now you're Graham Stephan. I mean, it's really simply that. I wouldn't be able to buy as many properties as I buy with the speed and the confidence that I'm able to if I had not studied cap rate, net operating income, debt service, the cycle, due diligence, how to find it. I wouldn't be able to do it, especially not with any speed. I'd second guess. And then the deal that I have that's off market would hit the market because I wouldn't pull the trigger. I wouldn't put the $20,000 down earnest money. And so, but you earn that confidence because it goes from most fear is in the dark. You ever watch a scary movie and you know how it's dark and the scariest part is far before they actually show the bad guy or the scary thing? Many times in life, you don't take action because you didn't do the work to be confident enough in yourself to know that your actions will actually pay off or not hurt you. I always say that if you have something on your to-do list or you have a goal that you had set out to achieve and for whatever reason you're not taking action on it, go in the bathroom, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, and ask yourself what you're afraid of. What's going to come back is something that you don't know. You're uncertain about something, just like a scary movie. That's what's stopping you from taking action. So if you can go and get the competencies like you did, shine a light on it and understand how to navigate through it, then all of a sudden your confidence goes up. But really you just know what you need to do and you understand what needs to be done to hit that goal. And then magically you take action. I think a lot of life is like that. A lot of it. Did you also study to learn how to do the videos in a good way?
A lot of trial and error.
Yeah. And so you knew what you were looking for and then you saw it and you're like, you know what? I can tell my friends and family about this. Same thing. If I put a deal on your desk tomorrow, let's say it was like a 12 cap, owner finance, IO, 5%, 100 doors, you'd buy it, yeah? Mm-hmm. Would you be so confident that you would come to an investor if you didn't have the initial down payment that you'd be like, hey, listen, this is a good deal? Would you take their money?
I mean, no, yeah.
You would.
Yeah.
You would take it because you know. And it took you all those years to get yourself in a position where you can understand that. I can tell you, if we went outside in the hallway and I told those two camera guys that came with me, hey, I have 100 doors, 12 cap, here's the price, here's the debt service, IO. Both those boys would look at me like they'd seen a ghost, and they'd be like, no, thank you.
And until you tell them it's office space, and they're like, oh, definitely not.
Yeah. But the point is that I could also walk in that hallway and say, hey guys, would you be interested in owning 100 doors that will change your life forever? They would both say yes. Most all entrepreneurs you meet, they're like, man, I want to get into real estate one day. They don't because they don't understand it. And if they didn't understand it and they knew exactly what they were doing, then they would follow through on some of those things, but they don't. And so is it this confidence that you get born with? I would argue no. I would argue that you build your confidence over time by earning it. And that work that you do makes you believe in yourself in a completely different way. And it comes off to the world as confidence. But really, it's a lifetime of work that puts you in a position to feel secure with yourself in a way that will allow you to move forward and do the things that you set out to do. That's it.
But in order to do the things that you set out to do, that requires a certain level of motivation. And my concern with producing podcasts like this, I'm always nervous that the viewers are just going to watch this as some form of like mental masturbation. And they think that they're putting in the work by listening to a podcast like this, in the same way that people, when they go to therapy, they think that when they're when they're being therapized, that they're like actually doing the work, when the bulk of the work should be done outside of therapy. It shouldn't be done by watching podcasts like this. It should be done in other areas. What would you say to people like that binge these podcasts, that think that they're doing the right thing? How do you motivate them to actually go and do it? Because you can't just like tell yourself to be motivated. It doesn't work like that.
No, you can't. I would tell them to watch the ratio of hours watched versus action taken. Even if you change the gradient of what you're doing. For example, if I were to watch a bunch of podcasts on let's go back to real estate, on how to do net operating income, debt service, cap rate, all these different things. Instead of watching another video, and I actually used to do this, I would drive through an apartment building that was for sale, that I knew was for sale, or a LoopNet, something that was going on there. I drive it like I was doing due diligence on it. Now I'm putting action in mass against what I've learned.
Yeah.
I would go, there's actually an apartment building that was next to my first duplex that I ever bought. And it came up for sale. And to this day, I wish I'd have bought it. It was $2 million. It was like 80 units. It's in Louisiana. I remember going at night and with my flashlight and checking to see how many of the water meters were on. I remember driving it during the day on Tuesday and being like, how many cars are here? I wonder if there were. I was acting like I was going to buy it, you know? And so for me, that was a different experience where I could go physically pretend that I was going to buy the place, even though I didn't have the money at the time. It was many years ago. I believe that making sure you pay attention to how much you're taking in versus the amount of action you take is going to be a very important part of making sure you're not mentally masturbating.
And then what about the motivation aspect of things? Like, how do you become motivated?
For me, I always had this vision of the man I'm going to become. And to this day, that's what I use. Because like anything, you accomplish something and you're happy about it for about 5 minutes. And so what I always tell people is that you need to create a larger consciousness. You need to go out into the world and find things that are either bigger than or were previously not in your realm of thought or possibility, and be around them, because it will inspire you to reach for bigger and bigger things. Like, I never thought that I would own a yacht, let's say, or possibly buy a plane. But the more I'm around people that own them, the more I see that that is a definite possibility for me in the future if I so decide. I mean, I could do either now. I don't think it makes sense, but my being around those individuals, my seeing where their goals are and getting in rooms with people that have these things and meeting them and seeing that they're human and finding out what they do and understanding all these things about them, it humanizes big goals. And so one thing I would tell those people that are watching podcasts all the time is go get around these people. It's not hard in 2024 to get to an event or to meet, let's say, an influencer or somebody that you look up to that has some things that you want, and you're not motivated to do them yourself. But get close enough to them to realize that it's very real and it's very possible for you. And so that is, to this day, personally, I focus on the man that I want to become, and I have a relationship with that vision, and I can see it. A lot of people do vision boards. I actually just think about it in my head. Where do I want to be? What do I want my life to look like? What do I want my character to be? You know, what do I care about? How do people know me? You know, what am I respected for in business and in life? And when I think about those things, they're very motivating to me because I'm becoming the character in my own show.
That's interesting. It actually sounds very similar to what Dave Ramsey was saying, of all people. He was saying...
Yeah, me and Dave Ramsey, same sentence. Kind of odd, isn't it?
He was saying that if you plant corn, and you know that if you plant corn and everything's going fine, you're going to actually grow corn. Corn will grow. You'll get a yield. In the same way that you say, like, it doesn't seem possible until you get into the rooms of people that are doing it.
It's true.
So it's like faith that if you put in the work, you will get the yield. is what will actually make you motivated
Who
to
said
work.
it? I think it was either Dave Ramsey or Grant Cardone said that once you make 6 figures, it's like you blow up a balloon, and even if you deflate it, it's still easier to inflate back up because it's got that elasticity to it. So it's a little, saggier than it was before because you've expanded to that income level. When you go to like 500 grand a year, you expand it even further, and it's easier to get back to that. So in a way, it's like when you hit these milestones, it becomes easier to achieve just because you're expanding what's possible.
All of life is mindset. Ed Milet, and I've met Ed, and he's a great guy. He has a book. I think it's One More Rep or something like that. I've read it. He talks about temperature in a room. So he talks about how people have a baseline temperature. Like their whole beingness is, let's say, a temperature. He's using an example. He says, but if you walk in a room or you get around other people where their temperatures are higher, your temperature will naturally rise. And that goes back to you're the culmination of your 5 people, all these different things. And that's why I do always say is that if you don't have those people around you, which is a problem that I hear a lot when I get messages on Instagram. Well, there's nobody around me. All my friends are bad, blah, blah, blah. Well, then maybe it is good to spend a lot of time watching some podcasts or reading books and spending time with authors and people you looked up to. That's what I did. I didn't feel like I had anybody around me when I was in South Louisiana that made me want to dream bigger or that would want to even talk about dreaming bigger. And so I had to go out and find that and then start to develop these things with a relationship with people I didn't know, but the relationship was still real to me because I was trying to aspire to be like them. And so as I built those things up, and I started to have success in certain areas, then I started putting myself in places where people were physically there. And I think once you have a relationship with other people that have done what you want to do, especially if you can be in touch with them. And I'm not talking about influencers. I'm talking about people in the metal building world, let's say when I was coming up. Or if you go to a local real estate meetup and you meet a guy that has 60 doors and you have 0, and you have his cell phone number, it gives you this different type of confidence. It's almost like an insurance. And then you meet him and he becomes human to you. And this goal of getting 60 doors, this big monster thing that you think will be life-changing and you might not even be able to achieve. You know somebody that literally you can tell is a normal person that achieved a goal that you want to achieve. And now you even have a relationship with that individual. It changes your whole mindset about your ability to do it. And so the other part of watching videos is to go out into the world and see people that have done the things that you have done. And you will quickly find that they can't fly. They don't have anything particularly that you don't have other than the fact that they did it. And if that can't motivate you to move forward, then maybe that's not what you actually want in your life.